Aerosmith é o grupo de rock que tem uma história para contar. Juntos na estrada há 23 anos, eles passaram por todas, do sucesso à queda. Com excesso de drogas e bebida, o grupo se rompe e vai para o fundo do poço. Hoje, Aerosmith comemora o grande comeback e volta a ser o grupo superstar que sempre foi. Aerosmith. And what about him?
I'm here.
So, let's start. You've been together 23 years?
Something like that.
I can't believe. How can you stand each other?
Well, we took a vacation in 1980 for 3 years where we were apart. You know.
We loved each other and hated each other so much that it broke up, and then we came to realize that we're no good without each other and got back together. And
well, we do have separate houses. I mean, we do live apart. You know what I mean? We get together and play on stage, but you know, we do.
Anyway, but a group that works together and travels together, you know, it's hard to be 23 years together. For it's a big relationship. How can you
stand it?
Stand it.
We keep open dialogue. If somebody does something, you go, hey man, I don't like it when you do that. If you keep it open, it doesn't stay inside and fester and come out sideways. It keeps it open. Sometimes I don't like to hear it if he says, hey, when you do that, I hate it. I don't like to hear it, but he still said it. And I love him so much that, you know, maybe after a couple of weeks when I bug him enough, I'll change.
Do you say
but you know, you've got to do that, otherwise...
everything to each other?
They have to. Otherwise, it falls apart, because if there's some kind of thing under the rock there, it's going to come out and bite you after a while. So we just kind of keep it open, you know, and it's hard work, you know, but the music is the most important thing. We realized when we split apart that the magic that we had as a band, you know, and the music that we had, it was worth anything. So we decided it was worth it.
And who is the boss?
She is.
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
But is there many fights among you guys?
I don't know if it's fights as much just like disagreements, and you know, like we hammer it out. Sometimes it's like slogging through a swamp, but you know, we work it out.
Nothing like, I'm gonna kill you. Not anymore.
No.
But when?
It used to happen like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
I'm just totally destroying hotels and just shit would fly, wrecked cars, you know, all that stuff.
Good times, huh?
Definitely. Wouldn't give any of it up.
With lots of fun.
Yeah.
And who is the pain in the neck?
Well, there has to be an agitator, so that's me. I'm the one that gets in there and
really?
Sees things different. It wasn't that way. I'm not sure if we all get under each other's skin every now and then. I tend to be a little bit more vocal about things and have certain opinions and speak my mind at the minute, and I'm constantly saying I'm sorry for saying it a little too forcefully, and I know how much trouble that my mouth gets me into, and how much good happiness that it brings me too, sitting here and talking to a beautiful woman like yourself.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, I got myself in trouble again.
Oh, good.
I don't think it caused any trouble at all, Stephen.
We were all heavily into drugs, and it takes its toll in that you don't concentrate on, you don't focus on what's really needed to be done here. If you're a band, you're not a drug addict first and a band second, you're a band first. And I was at the height of my bottom, so to speak, and you know, not really being there and taking too long, and I guess the guys got bummed out about that and split, and the energies weren't focused.
Everybody had their own pet addiction, you know. But it was all that stuff. It wasn't just, it was the drugs, and then on top of that there was like the ex-wives, the managers, the money. It was all, it just like exploded, you know, and we just had to, the only way to deal with it was to break up, you know, and melt it down, literally. I mean, if we were in our right minds, we probably would have taken a vacation for 6 months, but we just didn't have that kind of insight, and so we just exploded and said, I'm just going to go off, I'm not coming back to work, and I'm going to have my own band for a while, and we just stopped talking for a while.
And you were put on hold for a few years.
Well, Stephen and Tom and Joey stayed together as Aerosmith, and they got a couple other guitar players, and they did a record and toured, and I had a band, a couple of different bands, and I put out 3 records on my own, and Brad went off and had a record, and a couple of guys he played with.
And the label had a mutiny too. They fired a whole lot of people that happened to be on our side at the beginning. They kind of lost interest because we were so high, but it all kind of happened at once. And of course, looking back in retrospect, it was the best thing that could have happened.
You know, things happened like my manager that was managing me with Aerosmith, they conspired with the record label to bury my solo records, so I would do really lousy. Things like that happened. For me, it was really hard, and you know, I ended up playing a lot of clubs, and I lost everything because bad management. I lost all the money that I had. I ended up owing back taxes, and I went through a divorce. I lost everything until I ended up sleeping on my manager's couch, and I had a truck full of equipment and some guitars, a suitcase, and a smile, and that was it. You know?
But you still kept the smile.
Well, sometimes, you know, but it was
in a jar by
hard.
the bed.
You know, and it was hard, you know, but you know, I love playing music, and I was playing music, so that was okay, but it wasn't as good as playing with Aerosmith. So finally, you know, one day I called up, and actually I was playing with Alice Cooper, and you know, I said, well, if I'm going to play with him, why don't I call Stephen up and see what's going on, you know? So we started talking.
And what about you in this period, the hard time?
I just remember waking up on a hospital bed after having a motorcycle accident that took my heel off, and being in a cast for 4 months, sitting in bed and watching television and listening to music, and not having a band, and hearing this band called Van Halen come out that was stealing our spotlight. That's how it felt at the time, and there was nothing I could do about it because I had a cast up to here. I was living in New York City after I got out of the hospital, and I kept a little .38 pistol in my cast, and I was doing all kinds of drugs because of the pain, which I really didn't have, and the pain was up here. But it was a dog chasing its tail. Again, I can't preface enough that we became real good at drug taking, you know. And
what kind of drugs?
Cocaine, heroin.
Heroin?
You know, a garbage head. I take anything to get off, you know. Lots of booze, opium, you know, anything. Chasing the dragon, looking for that hay.
Looking for what hay?
Looking for the baby.
What is that?
What, you never got high?
No, I do have to tell me.
So, it makes you feel good.
What is it?
It makes you feel good. You wind up here. See, we lived on the dark side of the moon for so long that when we came back and got sober, it was very strange for us. But you see, in our sobriety, we hadn't done anything in 7 years, you know, a day at a time. But in our worst, we were just professional drug addicts, and we needed to get out of that space and get back to the music, because the music is what it was all about in the beginning for us.
It was a period that you left music. I mean, you didn't.
Well, you know,
play.
it's funny because when we got the band back together again, Joe and I sat in a recording studio with Rick Rubin, and we tried to write a song, and I still have it somewhere on tape, but it's the worst piece of garbage you ever heard. It didn't make sense. It just was. The drugs rapes you. It steals your spirituality.
You can walk through it and pretend you're doing it. You know, you can pick up the guitar and play, but there's no inspiration. It steals your spirit, and your spirit finally, when you first start doing it, you think that it's the key to your spirit, and it opens it up, and maybe it does, but then after a while it kills it, and in the end you just can't create, or we couldn't create anymore, and we were just kind of walking through it. Yeah, you don't feel like that when you're in it. But I do know that when I would wake up in the morning, my first thought was not, I can't wait to go to rehearsal today or go to the studio. It would be, I got to go see my dealer so I won't get sick. And that's where the shift is, rather than go, well, it's something you do at a party after you've finished. It's something that it takes over your life.
It takes a long time to get to the point where, you know, I can look Joe in the eyes and say, you know, I really don't like it when you do that. Or how about, you know, you take a lead too long on stage, or your guitar is too loud, you know, and have him hear me now is a blessing. Or say something to him that is so meaningful now that it makes me cry. Would have never come to that point, but it didn't happen overnight. It's one of those things that I have to be that way with him, as much as it hurts sometimes, for the benefit of the band and for the benefit of our friendship, because, you know, we've kindled and gotten so much better as friends now, and I want to go places with him on my time off as before I was to get as far enough away from anybody in the band as we could. And it's one of those things that not only is it good for friendship, but we write great songs together again, and it's like...
But how did you do that together?
It takes work. Everybody has to do it on the side, on their own. There's a lot of like introspective things, and you know, everybody takes their own path because you have to. It has to come from here. A lot of it was like just. For me, it was discovering why I got into music again.
Many idols, they had a sad end, like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis. They killed themselves. Why do you think it happens?
Who knows? Why do some people get in a car crash and other people don't? I mean, we all took the same amount of drugs.
But do you think it's a kind of pressure from outside, or
is it... Are you talking about why people do that? I think that most creative people find that there's a shortcut that they can take. I mean, all through history, creative people take a shortcut using chemicals to get to that spiritual place where they can be free and play guitar or write poetry or paint. And unfortunately, those same chemicals are also poison. So sometimes you take too many to get to that place, you know. And
Janis and Jimmy did not, that night they died, both say, "I'm going to kill myself tonight." You know, when you're as high as they were and as high as we were, you're just doing another hit. It's what you forget is that your body. For instance, people that have bad hearts take a drug, and after 10 years of taking this drug to help their hearts, the body shuts down and it doesn't work anymore. Digitalis, it's called, and they have to change drugs because the body says or it gets used to it. And that's what drug addicts forget, is that you'll do that one hit that you're used to. And the other thing is from habit, you do a little bit more all the time. You look at people and they say, "Oh, I need to get high, I'm not high." But you look at them and they're clearly stoned. They just don't feel good.
Tell me your daily routine.
Up at 6:30, carrot juice down the gullet, to the gym. Bionic sit-ups.
I believe
with Nancy and Evelyn.
You believe this guy?
Hey.
It's different every day, you know. There's a nice pool here, so we've been spending a little time there.
But are you always on the road? I mean,
I think so.
Well, this year.
Yeah. And what about the loneliness of the road?
It's funny. It's like album, road, and the album is what you hope has some hits, you know. And it's like surfing, you know. The album is your surfboard, and the hits are the waves, and you want to go all the way to the shore with it, and that's the tour. So you're constantly on tour to support the album, to support the hits.
But how do you feel in this gypsy's life?
It's the only thing we know, so it's like, you know, we're here.
Yeah.
You are a gypsy, huh?
Oh, yes.
Are you married? Both of you?
A couple of times.
Oh, yeah? How many times?
2.
Not too much.
2.
No.
2. And where are the wives?
Oh, my wife's upstairs.
And yours?
On our way up to Sunapee, New Hampshire. In the snow, it's like...
And because the lust is something very present in your music. The band has the fever, right?
Yes.
Has it? Really?
Yes.
Tell me.
Without a doubt.
Huh?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
The buzz that you be getting from the crack don't last.
Well, between us...
I'd rather be ODing on the crack of your ass.
Between us, we got 8 kids. I mean, that should speak for something about the lust.
It's an energy that makes the world go around, you know. And in my own way of saying it, people say, "Hey, shut up, is that all you think about? You're a sex addict, you're this, you're that." But I'm not, you see. What I am is I'm celebrating life in one of the only ways that gets me off the most. And I know that goes hand in hand with youth, because inside I'm really 17 years old. 17, 18 maybe. And I celebrate that about myself. I like that about myself. And it's just that it just happens to work out that I'm in the perfect profession where I can use it to the advantage of the songs and to make eye contact with people and to make ear contact with the people out there.
What is forbidden for you guys?
What is forbidden?
Do you allow yourself to do everything nowadays?
No.
We've been through it all, and we know what we can do and what we can't do, you know. And I think that I mean, we know drugs will kill us, you know. But I think, like Stephen said, we celebrate a lot of the emotions, you know, and we celebrate the lust.
Eye contact, good conversing, looks.
And you?
Attitude.
What do you mean by attitude?
It has
Arrogance?
to be a good attitude and a little bit of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's no substitute for arrogance.
What you look for when you see a woman? What do you look for in a woman?
Someone who can let me know that they've been around the block a few times without even saying anything, just in their mannerisms. Who can speak with their eyes and they can speak without saying much. That's real important. And
good tan.
Good what?
Tan.
Tan?
Tan.
Tan?
Yeah.
Really? Is this so important?
It's important, yeah.
Really? But even in Boston?
Well, you got to look harder there, you know.
In Rio is easy, but...
Yeah.
The object of my affection is to change your complexion from white to rosy red.
And how do you act when you want to conquer a woman?
Uncross my legs.
Just that? Easy, huh? So you believe in your body?
Sure, body language.
Okay. But you said once that obviously women are superior sex. Do you really mean that?
Positively.
Or it just another joke of you?
No, not at all. They raise children, they have children, they're not afraid to show all sides of emotions, whereas men only can be, They don't know how to cry and make their feelings be felt and known.
Your video, Love in an Elevator, they cut, you know. What about censorship?
It isn't censorship by the government there in that case, because they would show Madonna clips that were a lot hotter, you know. So it was a case of just MTV like wanting to please their sponsors. So.
But why this taboo with sex?
Well, because they don't know where they're at yet with it. You see, it's not about not showing anything for a reason. It was no naked backs or any body parts. Why? It's just our rule here. Nothing behind it. Nothing tangible other than this guy's not getting enough sex from his wife, or maybe he's getting too much. It's just it was sideways. It didn't mean anything to me. It was just reminds me of high school. You can't just because I said so. And so you try to get to the bottom of it. And what's it really all about?
But you still keep your group still keep that rebellion, you know, that you.
Well, maybe that's it. Yeah, you know.
Well, we were actually projecting family values in that, because that was my wife in there I was making love with in the elevator. So it was I thought it was a very positive thing, but you know, they didn't see it like that.
Yeah. What do you think has changed from, you know, are you still irreverent, witty, and everything from the beginning up to?
I love to have something to fight against. You know, it's like a ball, and I have to have a backboard to bounce off of. I think it's great to have these little obstacles in the way, you know.
It's something that moves you.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I can remember, you know, his first wife, you know, a Sweet Emotion. It was one of those things. I was going through a lot of crazy stuff, and it spurred the lyrics and the song, and you know, all the way down. Every time something goes down, I look back in retrospect and I say, "Geez." So now I know the reason that this happened. You know, so it's good. A little friction.
I see. You have that T-shirt that you said, if men bled, tampons would be free. What is the issue? Is the feminist is something that is an issue for you, or you just? I
found it in a lesbian bookstore. You know, my kind of place.
Why, are you bisexual?
I'm bisexual. Yes, I love to be with two women.
Yeah. Oh, in that way.
I just think I was.
It's a new definition.
That's right. You know?
Not bad.
No, it just stems from my promiscuity and my head being in the clouds and wherever I am at the moment. When I heard that, I thought, yeah, that's right. If men bled, tampons would be free. They'd be in every men's room, you know. It was just one of those things that made so much sense, because everything else that goes on doesn't make any sense at all.
I see.
What is he saying? I don't know.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man?
Serious,
what are you talking about, man?
Are you that serious?
Yeah, when I see the way men treat women, yeah, I get really bummed out about it. I think that it's such a crock. And then I think it's the year 2000 coming on, and we're still this far. You know, we got so much to go. And it's all about opening your heart and coming from a heart place. And it's about education. I have a lot of serious sides I get bent out of shape about.
I like both.
Me too. Thank you.
The funny and the serious. Yeah, it's interesting. And how do you balance between them?
I don't know, it just comes out that way, you know. I mean, if you look at the songs we write, there's a little bit of both in all of them. But mostly there's a lot of sense of humor in there too. I mean, we don't take ourselves too seriously either when it comes to these kind of issues.
How do you see yourselves in, I don't know, 10, 15 years? Still working, still on the rock?
Positively, chipping away at the stone, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, it's in our blood. It's, you know, fortunately, it's not always us up there. It's the byproduct of us, which is the songs. And when somebody hears a song, they go, or they go, I hate that. But it's still something that they catch with their ears and goes in. You can't stop it from going in. And we're getting pretty bad at our art. You know, we've got so much stuff coming. I mean that facetiously, bad, good. That we can weave a real good tapestry in that we can have all different kinds of music on our album. It's not just heavy metal, or it's not just, it is more rock and roll than a lot of those other things, but we can do a Dream On with a Train Kept a Rollin', or Janie Got a Gun with a What It Takes, you know, Young Lust with...
And if we were 10 years ago and you said that we were going to be playing in Brazil, have been in the Wayne's World movie, up for 5 Grammys for the last record, doing all these kind of things that we're doing, traveling around the world, I would say I don't believe it. So who knows what's going to go on in 10 years.
Why you would say, I won't believe?
Because who knows how far things are going to go, you know? I mean, when we first started, we were in it just to pay the rent next week and have a gig and hopefully have a free beer and a place where we can stand in front of the girls and shake it, you know? And
today we're in Rio de Janeiro, and I'm out at the pool with Bobby Brown and...
a superstar.
Yeah, and
Whitney
Houston. I mean, she's beautiful.
Yes,
she's a god to me.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there BSing with her and having the greatest time.
And what is the...
So these are dreams come true. These are things that we never thought. You know, we just never thought.
When you decided to come back, you had the great, you know, a great comeback, a big one. And was a decision of all of you, or what? Who was the one who said, let's go back?
Well, Stephen and I talked together on the phone, and then we got together in a room and we said, oh, let's see if we can give it a try. Then we got the other 3 guys together and we said, you know, like, look, we got to do it, but we got to start from scratch. And it took a long time. It wasn't like we got together in 1983 and all of a sudden started selling 5 million records. You know, the first record we put out, well, we had to cancel the first tour we did because we were still doing too many drugs. So that's when we decided we had to fix that. Another year goes by, we put out a record that didn't do so well. So we had to, you know, it was a long process, you know, but basically what happened was we got together and played our music and said, this is great, we want to do this some more. Everything else comes from that.
What is the worst thing of being a superstar?
That you can't go anywhere, especially, you know, with your kids or, you know, with your family or...
Just yourself walking down the street. It's there's a certain thing about the privacy that you give up.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How many?
2-year-old boy, 4-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl.
Wow, it's a big family. What about you?
2 years old, 7 years old, 13 years old, and 21.
Gee.
All boys.
A big family man. Also, band, songs, family.
With 2 cats in a yard, life used to be so hard. Now everything is beautiful because of you.
And now everything is beautiful because of you too, guys. Thank you very much for being here.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you.